You got fur on my nails. Okay, never mind.
You're not paying, so you should be thankful.
Look, lady. You're always on his side. Do I ever get any side? I'm a human rights activist, and I'm environmental as well as ecological. I'm also a sex worker. I do domination, I do massage, I do modeling, film work, and a variety of different things.
And when did you start all that work?
I actually started when I was 19, when I was a dancer. I danced at the Hungry Eye, at the I think at the Mitchell Brothers, and I danced a lot of places. And it's shows and so forth. So.
And Josie, what was it like for you knowing that your daughter was doing this?
Honestly.
At the beginning, it hurt me a lot. I even got sick because, you see, I am a reverend, a minister, a midwife, an artist, and everything. And for me, how I was grown up in my country and traveling around the world looked at these dancers at nightclub as something sinful. But as I've been studying the Bible more and more, I came to realization that Jesus self did not condemn the woman that they claim that she was a prostitute. He said, if any of you don't have sin, throw the stone. And everybody dropped their stone and went away. And Jesus turned around to the woman and said, my daughter, did anyone condemn you? She says, no. He said, neither I. Go and sin no more. So whatever my daughter wants to do with her body is her business. And I love her the same, just as if she did never become a sex worker. And I'll always love her.
You're too cute. Look at that.
Ckiara, how does it feel hearing that?
It feels good. It feels good that she's on my side, because at first she wasn't, and that really didn't feel right. My point my whole thing when I got into the adult industry business, because I use the term sex worker because it is used a lot, but it's very wide to me. And I studied it for like 5, 6, 7 months before I even got into it. And then I weighed the pros and the cons, and then the more I've done it, the more I realize that there's absolutely nothing wrong. I don't see how people who on a daily basis have sexual intercourse and create life, or have intercourse to relax, or have intercourse to love, or just to be casual or whatever, I had this enormous disgusting attitude at the very thing they came from. And I can't be a party to that, and I cannot join others in myths and unrealities and to condemn people. My biggest condemnation is to people who are committing genocide and creating wars in countries that are taking out gold and silver and oil and all this, and killing the actual owners, tribespeople and so forth, and rather than respecting their land and working together to do something better, they're sitting up there being murderers or parties or conspirators to murder. But yet and still they want to sit up here and look at what one individual or several individuals are doing and then demonize it.
Cesar, what's your take on all this? Hearing your mom talk about this, your own experience growing up with this, like...
I never really thought about it growing up. I remember one time when I was like in elementary school, someone asked what my mom did, and I said something like she's in movies or she dances or something, and I thought it was cool. And I mean, and even like it never really was about what you did, because I feel like you always put like class and respect into what you do. So I was never ashamed, and you're always just like super honest with things. Now as an adult, it's I tell everyone. And I mean, yeah, pretty much all my friends think you're really cool. They're like, oh my god, your mom's a boss. But yeah, like, you make your own money, like, you don't have a boss, like, you just, my mom's a badass.
Thanks.
Critics and haters will say, oh, well, this is a very unsafe environment to bring up a kid, or this is like this is the type of environment that will, damage a kid or will be inappropriate. What do you say to that, Cesar?
I mean, I feel like with all of this, like my mom was saying, it comes down to the person, and like if they're messy and like have their own issues, like people who are like accountants like hit their kids, and that's just as bad. So it's like my mom never put me in these situations, and if I ever did get in a situation, it wasn't because she like it's just things happen in life, like, but you never put me in a situation knowingly, like like I always was with grandma or my auntie, or like I was raised by just all these like strong crazy women. Intimidating a little bit, but it was like a village. So, and I it was like so yeah, I never felt like you were putting me in danger of anything. It was like other people who kind of put this
Yep.
they were like trying to throw down their judgment, and I was like, I don't really subscribe to that. Like, I never felt like I had a pretty crazy but happy childhood. I mean, my mom did everything for me. She got my teddy bear off Subway. She like would like bake all these, like, she was a mom. You remember that pistachio cake?
Yeah, I took it to your school.
Yeah.
But it was gone.
Yeah. She wasn't conventional mom, but she was a mom.
Yeah.
I would never bring, or other women that have children that do this, would never bring their children into that kind of environment. So for people to say that's not the kind of environment a child has to be in,
it's like night and day. It's like a character, and then like you.
Yeah, because a lot of women and a lot of clients aren't gonna sit up there and be like, oh, your kid? Oh, he's right there. Okay. I mean, that's some sick shit. And basically, that's not what happens in our work. And when I was club dancing and so forth, they weren't gonna let him in and lose their license. Think about what is going on before you go to judge someone else. And there's a lot, like like when there used to be a lot of gay people who would hide inside their own families until they came out and became more acceptable. I kind of urge a lot of women and men and transgender people to please come out to your families, not to everyone, because the consequence of coming out to anyone is really high, very high, and I paid that price. But I still didn't back down. I'm still here. I'm still talking about what I believe in.
In that context, you're talking about coming out as a sex worker to your
their
family.
own families, to their own, not to use it as a shame base, because then people understand that all these decent people. The reason I brought up gay is because their people didn't even realize that, and then when their cousin and their uncles and their brother and their sister and everybody started coming out and being like, look, this is what I am, they were like, oops. And because they had this total stereotype of what this person was, and there they are right next to someone else sitting down having dinner with this person, and this is a totally wonderful human being, but you've put the stereotype on them. But the only way that that happened was because people started coming out to their own families, maybe not publicly, but to their own families, and saying, look, this is what I do, or this is what I did. And still, it's legitimate. And it's not just legitimate, it's just it's a biological thing, something that's been here from the beginning of time and will be here till the beginning of time, to the end of time. It's a negotiation between two human beings, and has nothing to do with everyone else's opinion or anybody else's, unless they want to join and have a little group thing going. But if they don't want to do that, I don't see how that's any of your business. And how dare you judge somebody else on that? If you're going to judge, go judge the immigration problem that's created by people in high places who are put up on pedestals but are robbing their countries blind, making people move away from home. Nobody wants to leave home. It's all over the world, and we're just sitting here based and thinking about what's going on in people's underwear rather than thinking about what's going on in the world around us.
In their stomach, what they're to eat and
drink. What they're going to eat and drink. That's an individual's pride and joy, or their whatever it is. That's an individual. We are here on this planet. I keep repeating this, and I will repeat it always. Every human being born to this planet has the right to be on this planet. Every plant, every animal, everything that's living, that nature has put on this planet has the right to live on this planet, and we need to start respecting that. That's what we need to be thinking about, not about what I'm doing with my vagina or not doing with my vagina. But since we're going to get on that, here I am. Please. I'm right here. And I'm happy that I can, because for a while we didn't talk, none of it. Well, they did, but I didn't. And I'm glad that we have understandings, and it makes me so happy that I know that parts of my person, Mom, was vulgar, and I know that parts of my person went overboard to do stuff just to annoy you, and to because I was completely against your religion and so forth. But I didn't understand God before. I was looking at the religion. I didn't like what religion has done to people, how it's confused people, but that's man-made. I wasn't looking at God in the way that God is all accepting and all loving and unconditional love.
And that is the point that I have looked into, because it said, I, God, love the world so much that I sent Jesus Christ to die for the world, for all people, good and bad. So how can I condemn you or the other person? I cannot. It's God to condemn. And if I can help a homosexual, I help him. If I can help a lesbian, I help her. If a thief come up to me and say, "Do you have $1?" I say mentally, "I'll give you $1, but don't take my purse." And I give him the dollar, and he go away. I don't have to insult him. Because today for me, tomorrow for you. We never know what tomorrow will bring.
It's also, I always think of it like it's just a waste of energy too. It's like you could be doing so much other things other than just like wasting your time thinking about other people, and like you could, I don't know, use that to like stop being so hateful. And I don't know, whenever I think of people who are just like really intensely like hateful, I'm just like, they just go to these like rallies or they go to these events, and it seems like they just know everything about it, like, you know, like these anti-gay people who like, they know every single event, and like more than like actual gay people do, you know, like they'll show up to every single one and then protest. But it's like, you just, you could be like going to the gym, talking to your mom, like anything. You could do anything other than just being like a trash human being. Yeah.
Now, if we looked at sex the way it is, it's innocent. It's completely innocent. When you get a brain behind that sexuality, that's when it starts getting dirty. But the sex by itself, it's a natural function. It's much like going to the bathroom to go urinate or defecate. So is sex. It's natural, and it's a necessity. It's something you will not ever be able to seriously control. Or say that it controls you either. It's the mindset. Now, if you're raised up thinking that sex is dirty, then you do a sexual act, and then all of a sudden you're feeling disgusted inside or disgusted with yourself.
It gets perverted.
It gets perverted. Taboo. It's a taboo subject, which it shouldn't be a taboo subject. It should be very, very natural. And then you wouldn't have so many people controlled, because it doesn't take much to control. If you get someone really, really from a place where even being female is a condemnation. This is in a lot of countries. Industrialized countries, in a lot of Latin countries. If you take a girl's virginity, she feels lost. She has lost it all. It's over. She will go hang herself. She lost her worth. Now, what kind of mentality is that? How are you going to base her worth on her virginity? There we go again.
Josie, what are you most proud about in your daughter?
Well, what I am proud about her right now is that she's a fighter, and she's determined whatever she wants. Since she was growing up, she said, I want that, she's going to get that. Don't care what she have to do, she will get it. And I'm very proud that she's standing up for herself. She have her own apartment that she pays, and she's doing everything, and mostly she's helping the people that are calling to her all over the world. Not under Mosquito, she has helped other nations too.
Mm. And what are you most proud about in your grandson?
That he's so handsome for me, and he's very full of intelligence. He have wisdom and understanding, and he has a low temper. He have a high temper, but when he before me, he's so humble that I admire him even more. He's so humble, so nice. And I expect him to make a movie of me, so that's I have to treat him good, because I don't want him to get away.
Are you gonna make a movie about your grandma?
I guess. Yeah. I'll make sure it's flattering.
Let's see. Couple last questions. Ckiara, what has happened in your world since FOSTA? Has that changed things? What's been your experience?
Well, I'm more careful with what I do. I feel bad sometimes because I have a lot of ladies who call me asking me questions regarding work, and I can't answer or say anything because I don't want to be accused of pandering or whatever else that comes with. I don't have a huge problem. Yeah, the inquiries have lessened a lot, and I don't know. I just personally, I just feel it's a vicious, ugly attack.
So, you had Cesar when you were about
23.
23.
Binky
I keep
trades.
yawning.
And you got into the industry around 19
Yeah.
with dancing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And modeling.
What originally got you into the industry?
A friend of mine suggested it, and then we both went, and they only picked me.
To the dance club?
Do you still talk to her?
No, I didn't know she was mad about that, but yeah.
And what had you want to do that at that time?
Because I was interested in it. I really like my mom said earlier. I was raised a certain way, and I felt a different way. My sensuality. I'm very sensual. So it was a conflict between what I was born and raised to think, and
what you were feeling,
and what I was feeling.
Mm.
So I wanted to explore that, and that's that's where it started. I wanted to explore all of that.
So would you say that, so you were raised, your mother raised you in a more kind of, with a more traditional religious view of these kind of things?
Yeah.
And Josie,
I
what
think
was...
she still wants to see me married.
To you, Josie?
Yes, sir.
Do you still want to see me married? Because she keeps hinting it, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to get married, Ckiara?
Well, I've never done it before. Maybe that'd be interesting. No, well, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Because there's never a dull moment in my life. I don't have dull moments. It's always an adventure.
I can't imagine a guy being able to keep up with you. Maybe a woman, but
my life is an adventure every day, even with the phone calls. And they're weird. And like this guy yesterday, he calls me, and he's supposed to be here at 1 o'clock, and I'm like, yes, mistress, blah blah blah, mistress, blah blah blah, mistress. And I'm like, okay. And so I call him, and I'm hearing the same television background noise, and he says, yeah, but I'm almost there. I'm like, really? Did you bring your television with you? Because it's just background noise. Did you bring your television in your car? Because that is the same background noise that I heard when you first made this appointment. And then he hung up, and then I thought that was funny after I got mad. But because he wasted my time.
Josie, so what was your process of coming to terms with the way, the religious values that you raised your daughter, and then her work? Like, eventually kind of you came to not view it as a conflict.
Well, as I have told you before, I search the scripture every day, and Jesus said another word which opened my senses. He says, clean the mote from your eyes before you clean it from your neighbor. The meaning of that is, do not judge, because when you judge, someone will be judging you. She is of age, and whatever she does or do not do, it should not concern me nor bother me. If she hurts somebody, then I am concerned. If somebody hurt her, then I'm concerned. But her private life, I let it go, as what Jesus said. Is anyone condemn you to the woman? She said, no, my Lord. He said, neither I. Go and sin no more. That means I want her to get married, and then she will sin no more. That day is going to come.
What do you think about? What are your passions now?
I'm making movies and helping out my mom and grandma with stuff, and trying not to lose my mind when they call me like 50 times a day.
You have to make sure you're safe.
I know. Sometimes it's like an hour ago, and I was like, I'm fine.
That's me. I call.
They made me wear this dress.
You don't like the dress?
No, the other dress was cute. It was red and it had cleavage, and then you saw boom, and it was just nice, and I felt real like sexy, comfortable.
I know you feel like a stuffed turkey.
Now I feel like a stuffed turkey. Yes. Go ahead.
I don't have anything else.
Yeah. Let me just get. So tell us about this piece. Is that what medium is that?
I made it with those ancient pen that you dip into the ink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I made it with that.
Oh, fountain pens.
Mm-hmm. But it's the one that they have their long. It has a long, like a cone, and then to the edge you put the pen, the nib, what you write with.
And tell us about this piece. What?
Well, this piece is representing all the people, all these little bubbles that you see around there. They are spirits that come from yonder land. They come from the outer world. and they are speaking, and they are demanding liberty for their people. There is one spirit, and this can be the mother of the spirit of the dead. And she is speaking. She's demanding freedom for her people.
Mm.
And all the little bubbles and things that you see, everything, every stroke that you see, they are spirits. All are spirits.
Mm.
It's a belief of our people that when our ancestor dies, the flesh dies, the bones, but not the spirit. The spirit continue living and will return and will help us.
Mm. Okay, tell us about this one.
This is the great, great queen of the tree BC. She was the Myrinas Taharas. Myrinas Tahara Tahai Jaharas. Myrinas Tahara Tahai Jaharas. She was a powerful queen, and at the same time she was a mermaid. But she would come from the sea and turn herself into human. She was a mermaid, and at the same time she was a human. She would come from the depth of the sea to land and help her people. She was the mother mermaid. Mairinas Taharas Tihira Tahai Jaharas. That was her name in 3 BC.
Wow.
This was handed down from one grandmother to the other grandmother. It was handed down to my grandfather, who had the library of the history of our people, but that library was burnt down in 1950.
Hmm. And tell us about this one.
She is the high priestess of coffee, drinking coffee, the coffee that you drink. She is the high priestess of all coffee in the whole world.
Wow.
And she is talking, and she have her tongue long out because she tastes the coffee, and she says, it's very delicious. I am the high priestess of coffee, black coffee.
Wow. Does she have a name?
Her name is Waika. Waika. Wayka. Waika. That is her name.
Where does that name come from?
It should come from the Miskito ancient, because the Miskito language was different from today, because it's mixed up with other people's languages.
Wow.